So I'm pretty much running out of 7.3 news. Sweet. Hey, it's Soul. It's August 18, 2017. This is Warcraft Weekly. And this is Bob. Say hi, Bob.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this. You folks might have heard of Bob a little bit here and there. You might have seen him as a big obelisk-looking thing who helped with some commentary. But now he's here as a semi-permanent fixture until I can, I don't know, figure out what to do with him. So let's kick it off with the usual. How was your week, everyone? For me, it was pretty much the usual thing. A little bit of raiding, a little bit of work, a little bit of videos, a little bit of streaming. Some of it was kind of hamstrung with having to take care of Toffee. Still working on him, so I'll just give you like little snippety updates like that. Please feel free to share a little story of just how things went for you. As for your more epicer story,
super epic.
Yeah, that's right. You still have 1 week to submit the most awesome epic story of the World of Warcraft that you've ever experienced. 2 winners from US realms are going to be chosen, and their stories are going to be read at next week's weekly. As for just about everyone else who entered, I'm compiling all these different stories, and I'm going to do a kind of short series. Well, it's going to be as short as many entries as I get, but I'm going to be reading pretty much every story aloud, and I'm going to share it in a series that I haven't named yet, but it's just a way to celebrate the World of Warcraft through your folk stories. I think it's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be fun.
Best be fun.
It definitely better be fun. So keep an eye out for that series in the next coming weeks. I didn't quite have the time to look up a featured YouTuber for this week, and I do apologize.
Way to help your community.
Fuck you, dude. Well, how about you look shit up for me then? Anyway, I still need your help with featuring more YouTubers that are, let's go with like less than 10,000 subscribers. Anyone that has less than 10, send them my way, because I'd love to feature them and try to bump them up and give them the attention that they deserve. Gamescom 2017 is going down next week, and you bet that Blizzard is going to make a pretty big presence there. They obviously have quite a few games. Bob, why don't you tell them about them?
There's the shooter game, the card flippy game, the one where the people running around, the other one with the people running around, the other one with the people running around, and World of Warcraft where people are running around.
Thanks, Bob. I guess Bob makes a point. Duh, Warcraft Weekly and all that. So of course, there is tons of speculation as to what might be going down. Most of it involves, are they going to announce the next expansion? And they might. Ooh. Blizzard did announce World of Warcraft Legion 2 years ago, and they might do the same thing here. It makes sense for no other reason than that they can if they want to. There's some logic in play, like, hey, maybe they shouldn't announce an expansion before they release, the upcoming patch, the 7.3 patch. But historically, Blizzard has kind of spoiled itself to skip ahead and announce new expansions while still waiting for a current patch to come out. With that said, I would at least make the argument, the speculative argument, that, chances are they won't announce it at BlizzCon, because Blizzard is really, or at least the World of Warcraft story, is really trying to hit a kind of continuity, a flow from one thing to the next to the next. And previous expansions didn't quite hit that mark. I mean, there were follow-ups and everything, like the Ruby Sanctum raid that led from the Lich King to the Cataclysm expansion, but it's been a little inconsistent, and well, I'm just curious as to what might be announced. It could be nothing. Blizzard had already issued a kind of schedule of stuff that they're going to talk about and feature and announce during their time at BlizzCon.
Gamescom, you imbecile.
Fuck. Gamescom. Whatever. But who knows? Like I said, they could do whatever they want. I mean, regardless of what they do, there are elements of players and fans that are going to be unhappy. Oh, they didn't announce it. Boo-hoo.
Oh, they announced it. Boo-hoo.
So my advice, just calm your ass down and keep farming for AP. This week is the Trial of Style event, where transmog is free and slutmogs are, kind of all over the place. I featured a video sharing my experiences, but I don't know, if it's possible, I mean, feel free if you want to share your own in a comment below. Just, if you want, take a screenshot of yourself, put it on like Imager or something, and, let me know how you looked. Did you win? Was there an injustice? Or, just share your story if you feel like it. As a follow-up to the Doomsayers and the Citizens of Dalaran running around, a new scenario featuring Magni Bronzebeard revealed itself to players this week. Players went to the ancient wilds of Northrend to go into a little Titan thing. Well, it basically started out as Halls of Lightning backwards, and then by the end, it looks like you're in Halls of Stone, but maybe that connects with you folks. And personally, I think it did a really good job of kind of setting the tone, the sense of urgency, maybe, of just what's going on with the world of Warcraft.
Bad joke.
It's also easy to kind of look down on it, considering there are like books and forums that we read and novel and, you know, all sorts of other resources that explain what the state is with the world. Not everyone is quite in tune with that, and they only really take the digestive lore from the game itself. But yeah, I thought it was cool with the sort of the dump sort of feel, you know, with the nightmares, and like I said, it really helps set the tone of what's about to happen. Check it out if you haven't already, or if you really want to, just don't do it. Wait till you get a little bit more artifact knowledge, and then do it for the extra AP. I don't know.
Dude, you're such an AP slut.
I know. Many of you might not have noticed that Battle.net is still Battle.net. A recent announcement from Blizzard said that based on feedback, Battle.net was, you know, it worked. It worked just fine, and Blizzard app didn't quite work. I mean, well, now it's going to be called Blizzard Battle.net or something like that, but you know what? We're just going to call it you know what? This isn't even newsworthy.
It's still kind of news.
No, it's not, because like nothing changed. There was no like hype, or, you know, there wasn't like it wasn't a big deal. It was just, okay, here, we made the announcement, and then there we go.
That's kind of dumb.
It is. So, yay. Not news. Whatever. Activision Blizzard had their quarterly investment call, and surprise, surprise, WoW did just fine. Predictably, World of Warcraft Legion has had a better performance rating than World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor back in its time. Finally. You know, that took like 11 takes for me to do?
I was there.
Yeah, he was there. Anyway, that seems kind of obvious. I think anyone with a pen and paper can say mathematically that World of Warcraft Legion just has lots of stuff to do, and, you know, surprisingly, that is a good selling point for an MMORPG. Warlords of Draenor just did not have as much to do, and, well, that's the performance and decline that we got. So what does that say about the World of Warcraft itself? It does say that it can kind of bounce back, but if we look at it a little bit more cynically, we can say that Warlords of Draenor was a more steeper decline in overall revenue and subscriptions and such, but Legion just kind of either slowed or maybe stopped the bleeding, at least to the point where it's at a normal rate of decline. You know what I mean?
You're talking nonsense.
Whatever. It'd be very naive and probably misleading for me to say that World of Warcraft is bound to get like 10 million subscribers all of a sudden. And, you know, there is the factor that we're never going to know that anymore, but that didn't really matter very much. I mean, what the subscriber number ever really was, it was just a talking point in a forum to, you know, show people how big your dick is. What's important though are the subscribers who are around. Are they happy? Coming from me at least, I'm happy. How about you?
I'm a robot.
Right. So I am glad that Legion is continuing to outperform Warlords of Draenor. It at least communicates to me and probably other investors that Blizzard is capable of redemption. They're obviously capable of more mistakes, but at the same time, they acknowledge their need to improve, and from Warlords to Legion, they stepped up. Now, as for the next time, it's going to be up to Ian Hezekiah and his team to deliver on whatever we got coming. So there aren't a lot of new updates on 7.3 anymore. They're just like little things here and there. Unfortunately, though, this latest build also did not happen to be a release candidate. For those who don't know, what is a release candidate? A release candidate is basically the finalized version of a patch that is supposed to be, with any luck, the version that we're going to see on live servers. These release candidates are deployed on the PTR for, you know, kind of a last, what they call a smoke check, or just kind of a sanity check to make sure that all the bells and whistles and gears and whatnot are turning. That's why with this particular build, Blizzard kind of manipulated the passage of time, you know, over on those realms. As of this recording, players on those realms should be seeing what's effectively the start of the third week of 7.3. Kind of makes sense, right? So anyway, that's what a release candidate is, and the results of whatever testing that's going to be done this week is likely going to influence whether or not we're going to see a release candidate being deployed next week. But with 7.3 essentially built, I want to ask you folks at home and on the toilet and in the car, how does your class and your spec and your profession feel? Do you feel worried about what's coming in 7.3? Are you excited? Do you just not give a fuck? And speaking of not caring, there was this map that was put up in this build, and, you know, there's there's Argus right over there and the rest of the Broken Isles, and people are kind of mad about it, but you know what? I don't care. Do you?
Nope.
That's what I thought. I'm not even gonna get into why, I'm just gonna say I don't care. Like I said, there hasn't been a whole lot of fresh and new 7.3 news, so instead I wanted to both look back and look forward at Legion. I identified what, in my opinion, are mistakes that were made, as well as look forward to the future as to what lessons might have been learned and what we can possibly look forward to. Many of you agreed, disagreed, and of course had different things to say. Panama Craig says, my thoughts, stop adding higher levels of gear every patch and raid. Stop the numbers in their tracks and work on simulation balancing for each boss type, and then with each raid put out different new set bonuses for each spec, along with new equipable legendary effects. Spaceboy says, great points overall, though I do like getting honor rewards without having to actually PvP. My wife was listening as I watched this, and when you ranted about Nomi, she threw her hands up in the air and shouted yes in agreement. Chaunter says that a big issue with Flight is that it always felt out of place in the game. Mechanically, it always removes you from the game world, and while it does allow you to see pretty things and take nice pictures, it has never offered any real gameplay. Logan Perrin says, OMG, I love a realm merge and my realm is so dead, lol. Soul Cleave says, I think the biggest drop ball is the Order Hall sets. They could have been the best catch-up gear. As for looking to the future though, Scrooge says, I'd love Wither Training Expansion or Proving Grounds Plus, something Soul to do when you're not social but more progressive driven. Materia Summoner J says, keep the Mythic Plus system and improve on it. Maybe Mythic Plus older dungeons, flight-based content, world scaling including Old World 2, more transmog, greatly improved character customization, and more. Alcat Celsius says, perhaps update the old content so we actually have a valid reason to go back to Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor. Darth Jar Jar quoted me to say that Blizzard can Pathfinder the fuck out of the next expansion. That made him laugh, lol. And you know what? They could. So as a new YouTuber on the scene, one that's hopefully not about to crash and burn, it's been interesting. It's been a very interesting experience to see the development of an expansion from alpha to beta to where we're at now. Not quite at the end of the expansion, but sort of at the end of the expansion. It has been pretty neat seeing the day-to-day development of this particular Blizzard game, and I at least wanted to take one more moment to acknowledge the hard work that Blizzard's putting in. Even if the results of their work might not be something that everybody likes, I definitely want to acknowledge their efforts. And with that said, we're gonna wrap up this weekly. I want to thank Bob over here for not being too much of a punk ass.
I the punk ass bitch.
Yeah, you were. I want to give a shout out to all the patrons who have been supporting me, and if you want to be one, cool, but you don't have to. Just support me the best way you know how. Like and share my content and help me get to 10,000 subscribers. I might do something stupid to celebrate. I don't know, I might give away like Destiny 2 or something. I don't know, that's what, like $100? Whatever. But anyway, thanks again for letting me be a short part of your day. I'm out for the weekend, but as always, you can always leave me a comment or send me a message or send a tweet or a Facebook message, whatever you feel. But I will see you folks next week for what I hope to be some special content. You all have a good one. Stay safe, stay happy, stay breezy.